Welcome back, YouTubers. Today we're going to be doing a small repair on some baseboard and then touching it up, trying to make it look a bit more presentable. So let's get right into our demo. So this is the problem that we're looking at today. You can see there's just a big chunk of the MDF or medium density fiberboard is missing out of the corner of this baseboard. It either got hit with some furniture or someone kicked it. But either way, we're going to try and fix this up today. So let's get into it. So before we get into reshaping this MDF, we're just going to protect our carpet. We're going to take a little bit of masking tape. Just press that down into there. Now, of course, you could have wider masking tape, but this is all I had on hand today, so it's just a small job, so we're just going to put a few layers of that down and go around the corner here. Like that. That's all we need to do for now. The masking tape. Have our drop sheet in place, and all we basically did was laid it down and then folded it over at an angle so we get around the corner. That's just a little tip for how we can keep our drop sheets neat and tidy, and then we have them over the taped area. So now we're ready to go ahead and spackle that up. So we're just going to use our Drydex today, which is the pink spackle, and it dries to white. It's going to give us an indication of when we can go ahead and sand this. So we just take it on our putty knife using a 2.5 inch putty knife. And we'll just press that in against the tape. And it's going to take a little bit to build this up, so we're probably going to have to do at least 2 coats. Get the worst of this off up here. While we're here, while we're going to be painting this, we may as well build up our area here that's sunk. Leave that to dry for now. See what it looks like when we come back. So I just panned out there so you could see what we've done. We filled in the bottom corner, of course, but we've also filled in between the 2 pieces of MDF where they join. The caulking that was used has shrunk back, so we're going to build that up a little bit, make it look a bit more consistent. So we're going to let that dry and we'll come back and see if we can reshape it a bit. So it's been some 30 to 45 minutes has passed, and we can see that this spackle that we put on has dried. It's turned white from pink. Actually still feels a little bit damp to touch, and at the bottom here the bulk of the spackle is applied. You can see it's still pink, it's still wet. So we're going to have to leave that to dry a little bit more, and we'll come back to it as soon as we can. So now we're back, and you can see that the mud that I've applied is kind of rough looking, but you can see that it's gone solid white now. So what I do now is I just take my putty knife and I just knock down the worst of this. Just knock down the worst of the spackle on the corner, and then this is where we applied this on the top. And just knock it down, knock down all the high spots is what that means. see that this is built up. You know, maybe you can't see too well because it's white on white, but you can see that this has been built up now. It's a little bit shallow there. There's a bit of a dip there with the two pieces of trim joint. This is filled up, but it's not completely built up right in the corner here, so we're going to put another layer of mud on here. We're going to fill this in a little better. Putty knife, get a bit of spackle on the corner. And just put a little bit on there to fill that in that where it's a bit shallow. You can see how it's really pink in that corner again. You're going to let that dry and we'll come back and we'll probably be ready to sand. So now you can see that our spackle has dried, it's gone white, and it's fully built up to the profile of the rest of the trim here. So we're just going to sand it out now. And we use sandpaper instead of a sponge because it conforms better. We can have better control over the sanding. So now this area here is flat, whereas before it was dipped in. And we can see that the mud has been built up on this trim, so we have to shape it. What we can do is put a curve in it like that, and then that gives us the concave shape that we want to get. And just proceed to smooth everything out. When you're on a flat piece, hold it flat. Get into these curved pieces. Got a curve in our sandpaper again. Just go along. Now obviously this MDF is just paper that's been molded into the shape. But we want to keep our good habits and sand in the direction of the imaginary grain. See all this where it was, there was low spots before, has all been built up. Just feel it, make sure it's all smooth. And there we have it. Now you can see our trim looks like it's joined nicely, even though it's been filled in quite extensively. But then by the time we prime this now and paint it in our finish color, it's going to look as good as new. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration on how to repair our MDF if it gets chipped. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you have any suggestions for demonstrations, I'll try to do them as they come along on the projects. So in the meantime, you can like the videos and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. It's been Craig the Muskoka Painter, helping you take the pain out of painting.